Hi, I am Dylan Hull, and this is my pitch for Nestlé's Le Recette de l'Atelier relaunch campaign targeted at increasing the product's reach into the UK market. This campaign is designed to be launched in November in order to maximise exposure during the Christmas period. Now, one of the main messages the campaign aims to communicate is the uniqueness of Le Recette de l'Atelier, as it is not only unique in its appearance, but also in the sustainable manner in which it's created. And aspects such as the cocoa plan and plastic-free carbon-neutral packaging will be leveraged to allow Nestle to win out over the competition despite the larger size and budget of brands like Ferrero and Lindt. And it is very important to note that this campaign is designed with consideration of HFSS legislation that limits where, when, and how chocolate products can be advertised. Now, this presentation will cover a storyboard for a TV ad that will air as a key part of the overall campaign, as well as discussing the media mix the campaign will use and why each media vehicle has been chosen in reference to the client brief provided. So without further ado, we'll move on to the storyboard. The ad begins in scene 1, which is an aerial establishment shot that shows a cocoa farm free of machinery in an exotic country. The sounds of nature will be played at an increased volume without any voiceover or music. Now, this imagery is used to provide audiences with a first hint as to what the cocoa plant is and begins to form links between the product and the environment. And these links will be used as the foundation for forming strong and favourable brand attitudes. Now, this then cuts to scene 2, which shows a fruit farm in which people are picking fruits and nuts that are then being put in crates and pulled away by a donkey towing a cart, once again free of machinery. This scene connotes the natural, unaltered, organic, and healthy nature of Le Recette de l'Atelier, which helps to form these positive brand attitudes we mentioned before. It also begins to raise awareness that Le Recette de l'Atelier fulfills the category need for organic, sustainably sourced, unprocessed confectionery goods, which helps to position the product as an ethically sourced good. Now, the third scene then cuts back to the cocoa farm. However, this time a local farmer is seen shaking hands with a representative of Nestle while surrounded by their produce. The farmer then thanks the Nestle rep for their business, and the Nestle rep replies saying it is them who should be thanking the farmer. All this dialogue is spoken in the farmer's native language. Now, this not only successfully leverages the cocoa plan as per the client brief, but also creates an emotional stimulus for the audience that leads them to perceive Nestle as a brand who truly care for the people who work to provide the ingredients needed to make their products, which aligns the values of Nestle with the current socio-cultural and ethical values held by their target audience. Moving on to scene 4, we see another exchange mirroring scene 3, only this time at the fruit farm. A similar conversation takes place in which the farmer thanks the Nestle rep and the rep replies, insisting that the farmer is the one deserving thanks. Now, this dynamic once again uses emotional stimulus of treating everyone in Nestle's supply chain with kindness and respect to position Le Recette de l'Atelier favourably in the eyes of their potential customers, and this aids in forming positive brand attitudes towards not just the product but also Nestle's brand overall. Now, the next scene cuts to a close-up on one of the sacks of cocoa beans previously seen in scene 3 on the cocoa farm. Now, the beans have been placed on a handcrafted wooden bench, which infers to the audience that similar levels of care, dedication, and personal effort go into making Le Recette de l'Atelier as they did into making that bench. Now, these inferences are solidified by the sign hanging on the wall in the background that informs audiences that the scene is currently taking place in an artisanal chocolatier's workshop. Now, the purpose of the inferences made in the scene is to begin positioning Le Recette de l'Atelier as a luxury good within the chocolate confectionery market, and it does this by making the positioning clear so that there's less likely to be any resistance to a premium pricing strategy, and the process of forming brand attitudes will likely be more successful in a shorter time frame. And then, finally for scene 6, one of the artisan chocolatiers carries and places the fruits and nuts on the bench alongside the cocoa beans. This serves the very simple purpose of reinforcing the message that Le Recette de l'Atelier uses organic, sustainably sourced produce to craft their luxurious chocolate bar with only the finest ingredients and chocolatiers at work. Next is scene 7, where still in the artisanal chocolatiers, however, the shot has changed to a close-up of Le Recette de l'Atelier being handmade in a metallic tray by one of the chocolatiers. So this further serves to form consumer perceptions of Le Recette de l'Atelier as a product that is made with excruciating levels of care and attention, designed with no expense spared, to fulfill all the customer's wants and needs. Now, these perceptions serve to form and reinforce the overall brand attitudes of the audience, only further building on the foundations laid out in the earlier scenes. And in order to ensure that the desired image of Le Recette de l'Atelier is created, the first non-diegetic audio of the ad is played. Now, this is a voiceover that states sustainably sourced, fair trade, healthy, and luxurious. And this reinforces the messages that have to this point only been implied and is memorable as some of the only non-diegetic spoken words of the ad. Now, scene 8 cuts to an extreme close-up that focuses on a bar of Le Recette de l'Atelier and tracks the chocolate as it is picked up and then a bite is taken from it, with the sound of the bite being boosted in volume. Now, using the sound of the bite as a form of ASMR, an audio stimulus that prompts a physical or emotional response, the audience of the ad is given a feeling of satisfaction. Now, this feeling of satisfaction informs audiences that Le Recette de l'Atelier can also satisfy their needs and desires, because it fulfills the most important category need of any chocolate confectionery product, which is, of course, tasting good and being enjoyable to eat. Now, the voiceover asks, "Who told you you couldn't have it all?" and implies that any competition that doesn't offer the audiences the same features, level of care and satisfaction as Le Recette de l'Atelier is not doing everything they can to satisfy their customers' needs. Finally, the closing scene of the ad cuts to an entirely digital locked-off medium shot in which 3 bars of Le Recette de l'Atelier are presented on a plain background with the voiceover echoing the tagline displayed below. Le Recette de l'Atelier, you've earned it. So while the image of what Le Recette de l'Atelier will look like in store builds the foundation of brand recall, the tagline and voiceover work in synergy drive an increase in brand purchase intent. Now, the purchase intent is only further increased by the logos of stores selling Le Recette de l'Atelier being displayed in a semi-opaque manner below the tagline. And with that, we've covered the storyboard. Moving on to the media mix, this pie chart shows the division of media spend for the campaign by media type used. Now, despite digital making up the highest total amount spent on any one type of media, it is actually broadcast media in the form of a TV ad that will act as the leading vehicle for the campaign due to the high levels of reach the medium actually offers. So with broadcast being the first media to go live, it will act as the first point of exposure for Le Recette de l'Atelier to UK audiences. Now, the TV ad will air during Gogglebox and Celebrity Gogglebox on channels E4 and 47 in order to abide by the upcoming HFSS legislation changes forcing ads for unhealthy products to after the 9 PM watershed, and this should also secure an advertising slot in the long term for when the legislation becomes enforced in future. Digital makes up the primary supporting medium for the campaign in 3 separate forms, the first which is 5-second unskippable bumper ads that will be aired on YouTube. Now, these ads use to diversify the channels the campaign uses in order to avoid advertising wear out and to increase the frequency of exposure and improve brand recall. However, the next of the digital aspects of the campaign is influencer marketing. Now, this staggered approach to influencer marketing with endorsed posts by micro-influencers will allow Nestle to reach smaller niches of their audience and form strong brand attitudes from opinion leaders, and this will prove crucial to forming the overall brand attitude and driving purchase intent. And then finally, there's the use of earned media such as Nestle's Instagram and Facebook accounts that will post the same 5-second bumper style ads that will be going live on YouTube. Now, as a support medium, outdoor media is simply used to reinforce the messages of the other ads of the campaign and to prompt purchase intent in key areas such as during a commute or travelling to shops and back or meeting family. Finally, print media is used to add frequency to the campaign, as the medium's notoriously high return on investment will help Nestle beat their competition at point of fixture and in store. So to briefly summarise, this media mix will offer Nestle the highest chance for successful relaunch for Le Recette de l'Atelier in the UK, and it offers solutions to upcoming legislation changes as well as the optimal way to beat their competition at point of fixture and throughout the whole marketing campaign. And finally, I would just like to thank Nestle and Leeds University for their consideration. Goodbye.